But Brandon, let's move on into our next topic. And what we are looking at is Urban Meyer. And he is retiring from football. I'm using air quotes because we don't know. He could be back in 2 years. We don't know if this is retiring because of all the drama that was going on this season, if it's because what the announced reason from him was that it was his health, which we know he's had that, and if it is, we want him to basically be healthy, and if coaching football is not healthy for him, want him to be healthy. But what we're looking at here is with Ohio State and the Big Ten. Obviously, this is a retirement that is going to shake up more than just Ohio State. It's going to shake up the Big Ten. It's going to actually shake up also D1 football because the playoff race could be affected in years to come because of this retirement by Urban Meyer. So the first thing I want to ask you has to do with Ohio State. What does Urban Meyer's retirement mean for the Buckeyes moving forward?
Well, I think it means that they're going to move past a little bit of a rough patch in their history. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened this past year with Urban Meyer and Zach Smith and all of that unfortunate
Do you think that played
information.
Into it?
I think that along with just another season where they didn't have the end result that they wanted, and I think that because they lose to a team like a Purdue who really had no business beating them in the way that they did, and I think that he's just tired. I think he's just tired, and I don't blame him. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what's going to be next for Urban Meyer. I don't know if he's completely done with coaching forever. I don't know what he'll do next. But I think that I thought that the breakup needed to happen much earlier in the season. But I thought that he needed to be fired. So now he's not fired. He leaves on his own. They give him that.
Which I think is better for his legacy, that he's not fired.
It's better for his legacy, but he leaves on the same season where this comes out.
Yeah.
It is still going to be part of his legacy.
Not saying it's not a coincidence.
He'll never be able to shake this.
But it looks...
Because people will always see Urban Meyer as the great Florida coach, and then they'll see Urban Meyer as, the coach at Ohio State who left because of this. And now I know that people will also say, he won with the Buckeyes and he carried them to all of these Big Ten title games and championships and this and that and the other thing. But he leaves because he was just tired of all of what was happening, probably weighing on him and his family, and that's why he goes.
This is not going to be a good comment for me to say because it's going to be a lot of insinuating, but I'm going to say it anyways. I wonder... remember earlier in the year where Ohio State had to make a decision about Urban Meyer, whether to fire him or not, I wonder if they went to him and said, hey, Urban, we have to fire you. You understand that. But we don't want to be kind of an asshole. You know what I mean? Like, you've been a good coach for us. We respect you overall. Let's help each other out. We're not going to fire you and put that kind of stain on your resume and on your coaching legacy, although this stain is already there, if you agree kind of under the table to retire at the end of the season. And I wonder if that conversation was had. I would have loved to know if that conversation was had, because if you think about it, it would make a lot of sense. Why at the time... a lot of people were like, what? How did he keep his job? Like, this is a fireable offense. And then you look now and it's probably like, oh, okay, I could see it. I mean, the health reasons, like, that's why we'll never know the real reason. Like, like I say, if it is the health reasons, that's very serious, because I know that's why he retired from Florida in the past. But like you're seeing analysts now on like ESPN, Fox, they're saying like, oh, in 2 years he'll be coaching again. And I would be interested to see is, let's say 2 years from now, Brian Kelly gets fired. Will we see Urban Meyer is the new coach of the Fighting Irish? Because in my head, I wouldn't say like 90% chance, but I could see it. I could see like 2 years from now, Urban Meyer is coaching at blank school after just 2 or 3 years off.
And see, I'm just not sure. I don't.
You think he really is done?
I don't know if he'll want to go back out there again because I truly think that he's just tired. I mean, he's not an old guy by any means. I mean, certainly, look at what's his
54.
name? 54. Snyder with K-State. He finally retiring after 90 years. I mean, I think it's
Urban Meyer turned 55 in July,
so he's not old. And for this guy to just be this, I think, kind of worn down and worn out, and to have a season get to him with everything that happened, the loss to Purdue, even the tough game against Nebraska, and then yes, you have the big win at the end to get Michigan and to get Northwestern to be the Big Ten champs, but yet again not getting to where you need to be. And very well, Urban Meyer could have won the whole thing and still then said, I'm going out. I'm luckily going out on a bang, but I'm done.
Yeah.
But this is something that someone could look at and say, well, this is going to have a huge effect on Ohio State. This is going to kill them.
Does it, though?
But it doesn't. But it doesn't, because if you look at... The only thing I could
see it hurting is they're recruiting a little bit. Like, that's it.
I think that Ryan Day is so well prepared for this opportunity, and he's very much what Ohio State needs at this point. He's not an Ohio guy. He didn't grow up all around Buckeye football, ooh, rah, rah, the Ohio State guy. I mean, it's not him. I mean, he's coming from a completely different fold and a completely different place in the cloth. He's a younger guy. I think he'll relate well to the players. I think that what he got, his little taste earlier this season of a head coach in college football with the offseason, at the beginning of the season, a couple of weeks in the offseason, a couple of weeks to begin the year. I think that was a great taste for him. I think it's unfortunate how it came about, but really a good experience for him. He's got NFL experience. I think that Ryan Day is going to be good for this team. I think players will buy into him. Ryan Day, it sounds like, is going to keep a lot of the coaching staff and personnel in place, which is very good for Ohio State. And I do believe that you're going to have recruits still continuing to look at Ohio State as a program that, yes, maybe lost their Hall of Fame coach, Urban Meyer, but that does not mean that they're going to lose their talent. That does not mean that people are going to be refracted from playing at Ohio State, because anything that did happen now is in the past. And there are no sanctions that came down against Ohio. I mean, this isn't a Penn State deal in terms of that.
Yeah, no death
This
penalty.
isn't Ole Miss in terms of that. This is just something that was very unfortunate for the team, but now Ryan Day's taking over, and I think we're still going to continue to see a powerhouse in the Big Ten.
Well, and the thing that I look at is, and I'm bringing in now the rest of the Big Ten into this, and really two teams. For me right now, if you would have asked me beginning of this year and said, oh, Ryan Day is going to be the next coach of the Buckeyes next year, I would have been panicking. But that was before we saw the 3 games, and I was wrong about Ryan Day. I doubted him almost every game except for Oregon State, and he showed me wrong. He went 3-0 in those 3 games against without Urban Meyer. So proved me wrong. I can say that. Put my foot in my mouth squarely. My shoes don't taste good, if you were wondering. And I don't think that there's going to be a hiccup with Ohio State. However, the only way there's a hiccup is in recruiting, and the only way there's going to be a hiccup in recruiting is if Jim Harbaugh and James Franklin can beat Ryan Day. That's it. That's the only way. Like, this next year, I don't expect any of the 16 recruits right now to flip away from Ohio State because of this. However, if this next year, if he loses to James Franklin, if he loses to Jim Harbaugh, then we could be having different discussions, because the main thing that is going to keep it, and this seems like another duh thing to say, but I'm going to say it, as long as they're winning, people will come. Like, if you win, they will come. That is basically how it's going to work here. But once you start losing to Jim Harbaugh, once you start losing to James Franklin, they have an edge on you in the game, especially Jim Harbaugh. Once you lose to Jim Harbaugh, he can then use in recruiting pitches, you don't want to play for them. They lose. We win. And he hasn't been able to do that since he got to Michigan. It's been, you want to go there? I understand. They beat us every year. Like, that has what it's been. If that flips now without Urban Meyer, then we might see a little, it's not going to be like a huge just shift. It could be in ranking-wise, but there will be a shift in recruits if Penn State and Michigan can now start to even the playing field, rather than it be, man, Urban Meyer has really had Jim Harbaugh and James Franklin, their numbers, while he's been in the Big Ten. And it makes the Big Ten East, to me, a little bit more interesting now, because Ryan Day, good coach, but it's not that same, I want to use the word dominance, but I think that might be too much, but it's not that same kind of impact that an Urban Meyer has on those games with Ohio State, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State.
If Dwayne Haskins is still playing at Ohio State,
do you think he comes back?
They're going to be solid.
Do you think he comes back?
I do. I said that on the big board last week, and I think that he will come back, because I think that he still believes that they have a chance with the team that they have in place to be playoff worthy. And have the team to do what they did this past year, to do what they've done the last couple of years, to really blow through the teams they need to, beat Penn State, beat Michigan State, beat Michigan, win the Big Ten championship game. Why would you think otherwise at this point? I mean, really, if you're Dwayne Haskins, why would you think otherwise? Why would you think that they couldn't do it? Yeah, I know that was with Urban Meyer, but your competition all the time poops their pants and can never come up big against you, especially in the Big Ten East. Look at history. Look at the last couple of seasons. They can't. We know Michigan can't do it.
Penn State could, but that's when they had Saquon Barkley.
This past year, they didn't have Saquon Barkley. They should have done it. They couldn't. These teams lie down for Big Brother. I cannot say that enough.
By the way, and I don't know if this is copyright infringement at all, but very Dan Patrick-esque. You know what we should do? We should design a shirt that is like Ohio State theme, and it just says Big Brother on it. Dubbed by Brandon Swanson, because this is like the third or fourth video where you've just dubbed them as Big Brother. You used it with Michigan, and now you're using it with Penn State too. Just Big Brother to all of them. Maybe we make a shirt that says it's just like just the O, and inside it says bow down to Big Brother. And that's it. I think Buckeye fans would eat that up and buy that shirt, but I don't know if there'd be any copyright infringements with that. We'd have to check on that. But that's just what popped into my head. I'm very, T-shirts is what's on my mind right now. Although,
yeah, I can tell.
I've got a ton of ideas with that. But, I mean, with me, I feel like with Dwayne Haskins, the only way you do think about not staying is if you think oh, man, without Urban Meyer, we can't win those games. And, yes, you're right. I don't know if you're Dwayne Haskins why you don't think that. But there's a part of me that's I wonder now without Urban Meyer if Dwayne Haskins goes, all right, it's going to be different. And should I just go to the NFL this year? And I wonder if because of this retirement, there's a little bit more of a discussion now with his pro to staying or going than there was before the retirement announcement was made. Although I do agree with you, I think he will end up coming back, although I wouldn't be surprised if he came out.
First 3 games of the season, Urban Meyer wasn't coaching, it was Ryan Day. Oregon State, 77-31. Rutgers, 52-3. TCU, ranked 15 at the time, 40-28. That was no Urban Meyer. Dwayne Haskins played in those games. I don't think he would believe anything would be all that different, because that was coaching under Ryan Day. I just don't believe that he would have the thought of this was going to be drastically different. Yeah, could things change? Sure, will guys leave? They'll graduate. They'll leave. They'll go to the NFL. But Dwayne Haskins, while he's there, I completely have faith that Ohio State is a playoff potential team.
So I just looked it up. The last time Penn State beat Ohio State, do you remember what year it was?
I do not.
2016. They won 24-21, and you want to know the big reason why they won that game? With about 4:27 left, they blocked a punt and returned it 60 yards for a touchdown. That flipped. It would have been 24-17 OSU, flipped it to 24-21 in favor of the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Well, that's no way that they could have done it. If 24-17, and
Yeah.
no,
it was 21-17. Ohio State was kicking a field goal. So if Ohio State made it, they get 3 points.
yeah, so then it would have flipped to 24-21. You just misspoke.
24-21. You're right. I misspoke. 24-21, which was then the final score, where instead of Ohio State getting 24, Penn State got 24, and then they won the game from there. That was the big play that won them the game, because like Saquon Barkley, a measly 99 yards and 1 touchdown in that game. No, not even a touchdown. Just a measly 99 yards in that game. That was not a Saquon Barkley type of game. Trace McSorley, or as I call him, McSworley, had 1 touchdown through the air and 1 touchdown on the ground, and 63 of those yards came on the ground as they beat Ohio State, like I said, 21-21 or 24-21.
Ricky, my final thoughts on this one is I really think that Ohio State is going to continue to be a strong team in the Big Ten.
So Michigan doesn't get a win.
I
doesn't.
Don't know. It's going to me, Harbaugh is going to have to step up his game even more now, because he doesn't necessarily know Ryan Day and his scheme. Now, will it change drastically? Probably not. But it's now Ryan Day's team. It's not Ryan Day coaching under Urban Meyer. It's Ryan Day. How do you want to run it? Ryan Day is an offensive-minded guy, but he's also a younger guy, maybe trying to get a little bit more creative, might added some more plays into the mix. That's possible. But now Harbaugh needs to learn a new guy, needs to figure out a new guy and his system and how he's going to do it. And it's also always about not the coaching, the talent that you have on the field.
And just an update from Jim Harbaugh. This was tweeted by Shefty himself a day ago. Jim Harbaugh told ESPN that he won't leave Michigan for NFL. And he quotes, "We have big plans here at Michigan," end quotes. So that was your final thought you said for this? I think that Ohio State will be fine. It'll be interesting, though, to see if Michigan and Penn State can now get a jump on Ohio State without Urban Meyer being there. However, I think this doesn't, the West doesn't get stronger because of this. It's just Michigan and Penn State now might be able to get back into, let's be honest, they were in the picture for the Big Ten East, but now Ohio State might not be that juggernaut that it was. It might just be a minor juggernaut and not a major juggernaut. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section about Urban Meyer retiring, what it means for Ohio State, what it means for the Big Ten, what does it mean for college football in general, recruitment. Let us know everything down below in that comment section.